Welcome back to Four Sisters, where we will give you tips on self-care, self-awareness, self-confidence, and show you all the ways you can love yourself. So get ready to laugh, cuss, cry, and pray. Hi guys, welcome back. Episode 7. How was you all's weeks? It's Friday. Payday, maybe.
Ooh, I'm glad we made it to Friday. Nobody's payday.
This has been an interesting week. I'll say that.
That's good. That's good.
I don't know if that's so good, but okay.
We'll rock with it.
CiCi is just nodding her head.
I'm just here. I'm here.
All right, I guess we'll kick on off episode 7. What you got for us, Dani?
So this week on Rants, Reads, and Resolutions, I'm going to be talking about hashtag relationship goals. So the interesting thing about life is that social media is a large facet of many people's lives. There's not too many people you can meet that don't have some type of social media something. So with social media comes hashtags, which back in the 80s and the 90s, it was a pound sign, but that's neither here nor there. So with what used to deal with social media, it is pretty much hashtag everything. Everything's a hashtag. That's the way that you realize that you're cool because you have 98 hashtags on it. So one specific hashtag I think that people always put when it comes to relationships is hashtag relationship goals. With hashtag relationship goals, you will see the most ignorant hashtags under relationship goals. Like it'll be hashtag relationship goals under like Juju and Cameron. Like, cut it out. So then it'll be, but then there are hashtags that are under people like.
Didn't they break up?
Yeah, that's why literally. But then there are hashtags or like hashtag relationship goals called Cardi B and Offset. Girl, take a nap. But
everybody has different goals in life.
But the ones that stand out the most to me that a lot of people always put as their hashtag is hashtag relationship goals under Beyonce, Jay-Z. I've seen it under Fabulous and Emily, Kevin Harkin and Aniko, I think that's how you say her name, and then recently Chloe and Tristan. Now the significance on all those hashtag relationship goals is one common foundation. Can you guess what that is, guys?
It's shaky.
It ain't always what it seems.
Yes, honey. So
there have been obstacles.
Okay, okay. So the thing about hashtag relationship goals is people use hashtag relationship goals to say, I admire this couple. I think that they're cool. I want to be like them. But behind closed doors or in front of closed doors, in front of hotels, people are out here cheating. People are living the same life that you live on your street in Raleigh or in Durham or wherever. Same life. There's just more money. And I think the thing that I want to present to you all regarding the hashtag relationship goals is, have you all thought that was an important thing? Like, do you think that you should admire another couple other than Barack and Michelle? Because we're going to exclude them from this one. Because they are hashtag relationship goals. but like, have you ever thought, like, I do admire this couple. I want to be just like them. She about to say something ignorant.
What it is, though? I was just laughing at you. I will say there are couples that I admire, but I think that as an adult, I make the distinction between, like, I admire this couple and also knowing that I don't know things about them and I admire what I see. I don't want to know what their drama is. I just want you to keep showing me the good things because I like the cute. I love love. And so I'll be living in my own bliss that, like, everything is fine. Show me the good stuff. Y'all keep y'all's arguments or whatever goes on behind closed doors. But that's where it deserves to be.
But I think it's irrational. To me, you're saying that I love love, but there may not even be love in these hashtag relationship goals. It may be business. It may be, lust. It may be all these things. And I think we're quick to come up with the, what is Offset and Cardi's Barty set? Or I think it's Barty set or something like that.
That's the baby name?
They're cute.
No, girl.
Oh.
They're a couple name. Everybody got a couple name.
Okay. My bad.
Like J-Rod, etc. But not foolish. But I think that what I'm alluding to is that people are saying this out of like admiration, realizing that these are human beings who have human being flaws, and they are in relationships just like you and I.
Right.
And I think, well, let me go ahead.
I'm sorry, not like you and I.
Yeah. Clearly. Don't make me cry.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like I think they're cute and I like what they give us, but relationship goals for me isn't like, oh, I'm gonna fashion my relationship after this because I know there are things about them that I do not know. And I don't want to know those things.
What about y'all? Because y'all are the couples. Sad face.
Girl. Well, okay. I definitely do not mirror my life with any of these celebrity couples. I like to role model myself, not even role model, but I like to be able to see like real life couples, people that I interact with. And I can see, because I do know, I can see that, yeah, there's happy times and there's sad times, and I need to know all that, because getting into a relationship thinking that we just gonna take pictures and be going cross seas all the time and posing and all that mess, like, I need more. I need substance, because at the end of the day, when I'm in my relationship, we ain't doing none of that stuff. Like,
we might take a trip.
We might take a trip, but you know, I might get a beach picture, but that's not reality. So
there's a whole nother 360 photo.
And that's the thing about social media that bothers me. Social media is set up for you to only present what you want people to see. So you want to only present your best life. You're not going to, you know, Emily B's not going to post the picture of the doctor working on her front 2 teeth because they were knocked out. She's not going to post that picture. But she, too soon? Okay. Okay, I wasn't. Sometimes I go over it. I don't know. But she is going to post, you know, her new Fashion Nova outfit. Or she's going to post, you know, when they all be matching for the baby's birthday parties and stuff. Like, she's going to post those things, but she's never going to post, you know, him beating her forehead in. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jay-Z and Beyonce we didn't even know there was cheating accusations until y'all came out with 2 albums about it.
Yes, we did, because you've heard all the songs.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you hear songs. I know, you hear songs, but then at the same time, it's like, is this a real thing? Did somebody help you right there?
Right. That's
because when I found out that Usher's Confessions was about JD's life and not Usher's life, hello, I side out everybody's songs now.
I mean,
you're welcome.
But I think it is our responsibility when we're ingesting things to think critically when it comes to this stuff. Like, because even we don't post up. Like, I got a bump on my chin right now. I'm not going to post a selfie with that. I don't want y'all to see the bump on my chin. I want y'all to see me look super cute and be like, she's a baddie. That's what I want you to see. Girl. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to know that there are going to be days when I got a bump on my chin. There's going to be days where I don't look this polished and whatever. You're going to know that some days I don't always look Snapchat filter appropriate, and that's my business. Okay? You know?
I guess my concern is for the people who are not able to distinguish that. Yeah. Those people are like, oh, these are the goals, and they're out here searching for things and putting themselves up with things that they think.
Yeah, like everybody admires Cardi B, and it's like, oh, but Offset is so cute. FYI, didn't realize how cute he was until his last few weeks.
He's always my fave.
Yeah, like, but it's like, but she, you know, you've seen Offset have legit sex on a video with another chick, and it's like hashtag relationship goals. Yeah. There are people out there, there are people out there that, there are people out there that, but there are people out there that see that as like, oh, well, if, you know, she can go through it and they in love because they so cute, then it's okay for, you know, Tyrone on, you know, Lenore Street to do it too. Shout out to Lenore, right?
I cannot. Yes. I think, you know, but that's where it gets tricky. And I feel like we're sliding into a whole nother episode, but it does get tricky because whose responsibility is it to teach you that social media is social media. Like, is it a celebrity's or my responsibility to tell you that this ain't always how I am? Or is it your responsibility to, like, be able to decipher?
And that's why I was
like,
leading us to a resolution versus a read or a rant. The resolution is that we have to almost lead by example in these situations. We have to mirror the things that we want to see in the world. And even if it's 4 people, us 4, you have to be able to put out there, you know, those images that are like, okay, be a critical thinker. Okay, y'all, realize that this ain't real life. Okay, y'all, understand that, you know, he might have smacked her last week. You don't know that. You know, so it's kind of like us leading by example, to me, would be like a resolution. Like, so no more, you know, hashtag relationship goals. Because at the end of the day, I don't have no admiration for nobody's couple relationship because I already know what they're going through. Because I've been in relationships and I know what I've been through. So at the end of the day, I feel like if you all agree, the resolution could be to just lead by example, help people understand that this is critical thinking skills. You should not admire somebody you don't know.
Like it.
Or if you're gonna pick up some of the characteristics, take it, but also have your standards for yourself. Like, you can idolize a picture, like, but I can teach you the difference between reality and guided imagery, because that's what it is.
Like
that mirage. You out here in the desert, you see that water, honey. It ain't even there. It ain't even there.
Take it all.
Then he cropped you out of picture.
Right, take it all with a grain of salt.
Thanks, guys.
That was good.
Okay, Miss K.
All right, so of course Dani done hooked us up with a little rants and resolutions about the celebrity world. So let's bring it to a little reality in K's corner with some wellness tips about how do we look at the warning signs for, I guess, unhealthy relationships or healthy relationships, like when they reveal themselves, because most of the times they do reveal themselves early. And we just decide that we ain't gonna pick. Love is blind. That's it.
And it'll take over your mind.
That is it. Well, my Eve's in the room, basically gave you a great depiction of what lust is, because that's what it is. That's totally what that was. But between love and lust, like knowing the difference, like lust is that strong sexual desire versus love is that deeper connection, deeper than sex, is that emotional connection that you have with somebody on different levels, and knowing the difference as you grow, because you ain't gonna love somebody on day 1, maybe not even on day 45.
Say that again for our love at first sight people out here.
Oh, Jesus. You might love the idea.
Say it again for our Khloe Kardashians listening.
You might love the picture.
What is going on?
But love takes time.
Love does take time. And anything that's built overnight, Rome wasn't built overnight. Just remember it.
Hello? I mean, it took 7 days for the Lord to get everything together.
Okay, Jesus.
I mean,
Okay.
So if the Lord couldn't do it, you know you ain't.
As I'm going into my warning signs, before I get there, listen at this beautiful statistic off of blackdemographics.com, I think is what I looked at. 48% of black women have never been married. 46% of all women are currently married. Only 26% of black women are currently married, while only 30% of all women in America have never been married.
Is that beautiful?
It ain't too beautiful.
Okay.
But
close to almost half of all African American women have never been married.
Never.
Dang. I ain't got a chance.
And I did.
You get that thinking up out of here.
It's all right. I got something for you at the end.
Hold on.
For you at the end. Hold on. But I mean, maybe those percentages are accurate because maybe they woke up and they saw the warning signs before they did say I do.
Ooh, that is a word, honey. Yes.
You see how quickly she switched?
Right. Bring her back. Bring her back. Like, it ain't all the fact that they just can't find nobody. Maybe they just found them and they weren't it. Okay. Just let them go. But some of the warning signs that I thought was important, even going back to what you were saying about the celebrity relationships, a lot of them probably fall under some of these categories, like cheating on the last girl with you. Like
Chloe.
You can't expect them to change overnight. Like the Jaheems of the world. Y'all know that song with him and what's her name? I'm Not Wildin' Out No More. I Changed for You. No, the Keisha Cole. No, the Jaheems, they don't exist. He just don't change.
He wore a purple suit to Whitney Houston's funeral. I don't want him.
Strolling right along.
Emotionally and mentally controlling, like that is one of the number one signs to what's leading into a domestic violence situation. Because once they stop being able to control your mind or your emotions and things like that, they go to the next thing, which most of the time is physical. I mean, sometimes they take their mask off early and go straight to physical, but that's probably because they beat a few in the past.
Ooh, sure.
Like, you really have to pay attention. Like, you ever like talk to them about past relationships, and a lot of the times they come back, they was just crazy. They wasn't for me. What about them wasn't for you? Because I might be the same person.
You're right.
And if I'm the same person, we ain't compatible, and we need to end this on first day.
Where my organ at, Jesus?
Right. And things you need to understand about people who are emotionally controlling or mentally controlling, or like the thing about their relationship or their interaction with you is all control based. So it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. If they don't feel like they're in control, then they're going to continue to up the ante.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do about it. Ain't no communication strong enough. Ain't no praying hard enough, honey. That is it.
I don't know.
No,
that's God,
because that's a warning sign that God is showing you, and you're not listening. So therefore, you can pray, Jesus, change his mind. Jesus, like, I'm giving you the warning signs, girl. Get gone.
Because his mind ain't changing.
Hello, amen.
He ain't a holy person.
He ain't of God.
He ain't of God. I didn't send him.
Now the Lord can change him, but he's gonna have to want to.
Yeah, he gonna have to say the prayer, not you.
You're right. And so why he ain't saying the prayer? Just gonna walk on.
Because that bring me to my last one. Like, an early warning sign is when they don't respect your boundaries. Like, you put these things in place and you become, I guess, complacent with like, oh, well, maybe if I bend a little, then he'll change. If I do this, then they'll do something in return. Like, most of the time, that's probably not going to reciprocate in the way that you want it to. You're just giving them an opportunity to say, oh, she not as tough as I thought she was, or something like that. Like, most of the time, some people go in with a bet. You can't break her. And most of the time, they do.
Can I add a warning sign?
Yes, please.
Another warning sign is whenever you meet a guy and he tells you that he's not trying to be in a relationship or he's not looking for something serious right now, and you probably should just dip on out. That's like a day one warning sign. Because that's how so many people end up in situationships, including myself, of like not being sure about the level of commitment that you want, and so you go in open-ended, and then whenever you decide that you're ready for more commitment and they're not, then you're stuck. And if somebody isn't ready to commit, don't try to make them.
Because the results typically aren't good.
They're not in your favor.
That was a good tip. Whoop, whoop. Another thing is know what you want. Like, almost ending basically what you were just saying. It goes right into the next thing. Like, what do you want from a relationship versus what do you keep getting? And that's two things going together. Like, are you setting do you have a great depiction of what you want? Are you setting that up, and are you keeping the boundaries strong enough to where you're not just going to fall for anything and allow anything to come within that gate? Like, creating a dream job. Like, we all have a dream job. We all want this. I ain't gonna say dollar in a dream. But yeah, shout out J. Cole. But we all have this idea of what we want in a job. Like, we also need to create that. What do we want in a relationship?
But be realistic, ladies. Because
be very realistic.
If you ain't got nothing to bring to a relationship, don't look for no 6-figure man, no CEO. Don't do it, girl.
Right. You know, this is a lady I follow on Instagram. She's a pastor. Her name is on social media. It's Real Talk Kim. Tutu wearing, pastor. I love her. But anyway, she says we attract what we're ready for. So when you're creating these goals and lit...
What were you saying, CiCi? When you are writing these lists about the things that you want in a relationship, you need to be true, like Dani said, true to yourself and have yourself together, because you're right, like you're not gonna get the things that you trying to look for, and you ain't even there yourself. So if you ain't ready to receive it, then it'll take some work on your end first.
Yeah,
right. And I guess to add to what you're saying, CiCi, back to the job description piece, is the employers, when they're creating, I learned this in grad school, when they're creating that job description, it is based off of an unrealistic person they're not going to find. It's like their perfect pitch. Like they want all of these things, but if they can get 75% of it, then they're okay. Like, what are the ones that are at the top of your list that are not going to be able to be bent a little? Like,
you're non-negotiable.
Right, they're non-negotiable. Like, if you're looking for somebody with a specific license for a job, that's going to be one of those things that if you don't have that license, you already are out the door.
Right.
But if you're not good at your paperwork, I can help you.
Right.
Like, what are those things that are workable, and what are those things that are no? Like, if you're not coming in the relationship with this level, we can't start anything.
Right.
So being able to have that. Leave you with this tip: forcing a comma where the Lord meant a period. And I'm gonna take that a step further.
Come on, preach! Come on,
Lord. Mystical had a beautiful song. One word.
Did you say mystical?
Mystical.
Danger.
And add an exclamation point at the end of it, because if you got all these warning signs that we've already talked about, there's danger.
Come
and you
on
ain't trying
the
to get out.
Of Miss K.
Like, that was a word right there.
Yeah.
Put your hands up and receive.
No, ma'am. Because Lord,
that is good.
And this last tip is for my counterpart, Miss Dani.
Being
hopeful. Trust the process. Like, work on you, get you right, so that.
Oh, you didn't shade me, did you?
I didn't shade you, but you said that there's no hope for me.
Oh, no.
But I know you meant it in a joking manner.
No,
but some people are very serious that they're giving up. You know what? But they're very serious because what society says, by 25 you should have this, by this and that. And when you're basing your life off societal norms, knowing that those norms were created in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and here we are in 2018, we are forever evolving, and those things aren't updated. So when you're basing your life off of that, and you're going into these depressive stages, these anxiety stages, because it's not lining up perfectly, you're just not there yet. Like, you sang the song, age ain't nothing but a number, but do you believe it? Like,
listen, did you get your pastoral?
No,
she did. She's a relationship pastor.
Like,
come on,
y'all made me really dig deep for this, because like, when y'all came up with the topic, it's a great topic. But at the same time, I was like, I have about 3 boyfriends. But then when I started going back and really thinking about what comes in and out of my office, like what kind of conversations I have within friendships and things like that, and then within the little bit of 3 relationships that I had, just a little tiny bit.
That's fine.
There's a reason they didn't work out. There's a reason I'm with the person I'm with now. What about that? What are those?
Was he 3 or was he 4? Was he 3?
He's like 3.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like high school.
That was a word.
It was. I'm blessed. Jesus.
I guess I'm ready for Sister Circle, because I don't know.
Thank you for those tips, Pastor K.
Okay.
I'm DJ.
I really appreciate it. Woo. Okay. So kind of just to expound on our relationship topic, that's what I'm going to be asking y'all tons of questions about today. Diving into those tips and kind of dissecting them a little bit more for the peoples.
For the peeps.
For the peeps. So, my first question is, when we're thinking about this danger. And we're trying to avoid the danger. What qualities are important in a mate? Like, what are even things? And let me preface this by saying this is going to depend on individual needs. But what would you guys say are important qualities in a mate?
I'm gonna just go with honesty. I think, and this is just for me, like goal driven. Like, you don't necessarily have to be where you think that you are, but you need to have a plan, and you need to be actively pursuing that plan to get there. And then, I'm gonna be your ride or die, but I'm gonna
cheerleader. You're cheerleader.
I'm your cheerleader, yeah. And I'm gonna cheer you on. Yeah, no. You definitely gonna die for it. But for me, family oriented, because that's just something that I've always wanted, and then just a good personality, funny, outgoing, that kind of thing. That's just my life. Shout out to my husband.
To the other married lady.
Well, geez.
Save the trash for last. I'm sorry. I want a safari. Trash for last.
Negativity.
It's just like, do you got a candle for that?
I should have lit a candle today.
But I would say, just piggybacking off of CiCi, honesty is also very important. Having your insecurities in check is important, because I'm gonna need my me time, you're gonna need your you time, and if we gotta be under each other 24/7, that means you don't trust me.
Woo, say that.
Like, or I don't trust you. It can go vice versa. Either way, like, I have my moments. I mean, we all have, especially when we come out of very toxic relationships, you're gonna have your insecure moments, especially if you're jumping into something automatic again, or even if anything that resembles a traumatic experience, you're gonna be very weary and proceed with caution. A family man, yes, because I mean, at this point, I got 2 kids.
Okay.
And my husband, he takes care of his children.
We do things together.
But those are some of that goal driven, but not just goal driven. Like you said, action. And I need you to be on about step 3 out of 7. Like, I don't need you to be on step 1 in this plan seeking.
Step 1 means he's still living at his mama's house.
Ooh, child.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Step 1 might be you just only submitting applications
at your mama's house.
Okay.
But so my qualities, they're not superficial, and I think the older I've gotten, like before, there's some people out here in this world that only date tall, light skinned guys. Oh. But unlike those people, what? Well, unlike those people. The shade, but unlike those people, no. The older I've gotten, I love a confident man. You don't have to be the best looking guy in the world, but the way you hold yourself to me is attractive.
Add it to my list.
You're right. No, because I mean, like, a man who who just is you're stupid. Y'all don't got no list, but a man who is truly confident in his ability, his intellect, everything about him, he just stands there and he exudes it. So confidence is very important. Goal driven / career focus. And the reason why I say career focus is different a little than goal driven, because career focus means you are in your career and you are focused on it. I don't want to date nobody who got a startup. I don't want to date nobody who is not at least equal to or close to where I am in my profession. And the reason why is because there's a lot of times in my past where I've dated somebody who was not confident in their job and was not where they wanted to be in their job. And that decreases their confidence. So I don't think you can be career focused, goal oriented, and not be confident. So in order to be all 3 of those, you have to be a little further in your career. And someone who's not embarrassed about their career. No, okay. But and someone who's not embarrassed about their career. And 3, I would say a family man, but not too much, because if your family's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Outside of like your immediate family, like me, you, and whoever, like your actual family, like your biologicals. The only reason I say that is because if you're family crazy, I don't want you to be family oriented because by default you might be crazy too.
But then you do need him to be a family man because you need to understand you need those true colors to unfold fast.
Yeah, but what I want in a future man is not somebody who's a mama's boy. I don't want none of that. You know what I'm saying?
But
like
you get
that
that
type
because
of family
he's around
man.
their family.
Yeah, I don't want none of that. I done dated mama's boys and that was trash. So, and then the last quality, other than a safari, but the last quality is
which is superficial, by the way.
I mean, I said, life is real. But the other thing is somebody who understands finances and is able to communicate. Because my cohorts know that I'm extremely big on finances. I'm a planner. It's not shade. But I am extremely big. And I don't want you to be out here living frivolously while I'm investing in our future. Because, one of the top 3 reasons that the relationships end up in divorces is because of finances. Mm-hmm. And one of the other ones is communication. So we're really trying to build a future. I need you to be financially savvy, and if you're not, I need you to communicate your weaknesses so I can help you. Or you can help me.
Hey.
So I need you to, be able to communicate, be able to openly communicate your faults, and to be financially savvy.
Thank you. Well, y'all said a lot of the ones that I had, but the things that you have not touched on that are important qualities for me is one, I need for you to have some type of spiritual foundation. Like, I need for you to believe in something and have some kind of connection to some kind of God source, something that is like directing you and leading you throughout life. Because just kind of the morals and values that come along with having that spiritual foundation is important for me if we're going to be out here thugging.
Spiritual foundation out here thugging.
Right, if we're going to be out here thugging for the Lord, girl. Right, doing
Clarify,
the Lord's
please.
work.
Clarify.
So that's number 1.
That's true.
Number 2, I need for you to be very words.
Say it with your chest.
I need for you to be understanding of who I am as a person. Like, I need to be with somebody who is very understanding and somebody that's very open-minded, because sometimes the way I do things or the way I think about things are very unorthodox or are very unique to me.
That is a word, honey.
For you to be able to understand how I work and how I process things and not be trying to change who I am or expect me to be something different. But just be accepting, because that's what I'm going to do for you. And my last one is that I need for you to have already kind of done your own work, and you've already kind of evolved to the place where you're really serious and committed about being in a relationship. You've already committed to yourself. You've already created a life for yourself, and you're just looking for somebody to kind of be along for the ride. Because I think a lot of times people are looking for they want to be needed, or they want somebody who needs them. And I don't need you, and I don't want you to need me. That's far too much responsibility for me. So yeah, no, not looking for no needy Negro.
That's good.
So kind of piggybacking off of that question, I guess, this will be a lot more for me and Dani, but I want you ladies to chime in as well. Do you feel like you have fallen for people based off of attraction or based off of these desired qualities that we've already discussed?
To be honest with myself, it's always been attraction. And I think it goes back to the downfall of one of my qualities, which is confidence. If you come around and you are confident, I fall off of that. And a lot of that has been my downfall. But so I think that when you come in and you look like you have it together, you don't even have to have it together, because confidence can be tricky. Mm-hmm. So, I think that I have only fallen off of confidence. And I'm very quick to fall head over heels quicker than I should without doing the Carfax.
That's good to know.
That's tricky because I think that I do fall off of qualities, but I think attraction gets your foot in the door, but I fall for people based off of qualities. But I think because there are qualities that I valued in the past that were so important, sometimes I would ignore warning signs because they had qualities that I felt were important.
You went off of wing and potential.
Mm-hmm. I definitely am a Captain Save-A-Hoe kind of girl in the past life. trying to be better.
Woo!
In 2018.
And a lot of times I fall for something that's not there.
Yeah.
It's almost like a mirage. It's like you fall for somebody because they have like this thing, and then you see something completely different in them that they might not even see in themselves. Mm-hmm. So you're like, well, you know what? I can ayana you. Like, I can fix your life. And
you see you got the plan mapped out and everything.
Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to reach this goal. I'm going to help you reach this goal. You know, we're going to be great together. We are going to be Beyonce and Jay-Z, and they have a downfall too. So it is what it is.
I think black women do that a lot. Like, I just think that we are always like, we just cheerleaders. And we're like, oh, I see this thing, and we gonna do it, and then it just don't happen.
And if you're gonna do that, that's fine. But you gotta make sure that you are the person that you are trying to fix or change is also seeing this vision. Right. Like, if you got a vision for them and they don't, then y'all working against each other. Mm-hmm. If you trying to make him, Jay-Z, and he trying to be Young Thug, like, what are y'all even doing?
There will be
together?
no Young Thugs in my life.
What are y'all even doing?
That's blasphemy. And I also would say that if you're putting that much energy into them and their potential, they need to be reciprocating. They need to be seeing your goals and supporting you and reaching your goals. Because a lot of times as African American women, we want to help people. We are helping people. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you feel like it is a true love and it's meant to be, then you need to step back and reflect on, is that man doing the same thing for you?
Right. Okay. And also, since we went down this path, like, understand that if you are helping somebody, if you are the helper in the relationship, know that at some point they may or may not get to the place where you were trying to get them to be, and know that at some point, if they do get there and you've helped them and they've climbed and gotten to this success, do they need you anymore? That's gonna be one thing. And two, if they don't get there, or are you willing to be the person who is constantly hand-holding throughout their whole entire life to help them get to the next step, like for always? Are you willing to parent your significant other?
That is a strong word.
What in the world?
Girl, that's what I'm saying now, Chef. But, girl, what's the next one?
Me too,
Jesus.
Should women have a list of a dream guy?
Yes.
But
I have a list of a no guy. I have a list of things I don't want in a guy versus a list that I do want in a guy, because I feel like that's more important for me. I have these are the things that you won't accept. I have a list of things that I won't accept. Okay. I'm not very specific in the things, like, I don't believe in a dream guy because I don't believe God works like that. But what I will say is that I know there are things that I do not want in a guy. Like, you can't live at your mama's house. You can't be a rapper.
What if your mama living with you? That's what Bella said.
You can't be a rapper. I'm not invested. No, I'm not. Been down that road.
But he can't be a startup rapper.
The only way, listen, he better be Jay-Z.
Okay.
That's the only way I'm doing the rapper.
Jay got a girl.
J. Cole, he got a wife. No,
he got a wife.
But
and those wives, J. Cole's wife was there in his struggle rapper phase.
Yes.
Well, she better than me. He was also at St. John's University, so even if he wasn't going to be a regular, hello girl, he went to St. John's and graduated magna cum laude. He wasn't going to struggle. But at the end of the day, I do think that my no list, I have not been too keen on, but in life, because you see this positive thing and you're like, oh, I'm just going to forget about this one negative, and then that one negative leads to another negative, and then next thing you know, you're in a relationship with a bum, and I just no, I'm just being honest, but no, because one strong flaw will make you overlook
This is
one
true.
or two negatives. And the next you know, those one or two negatives snowball
into
and a whole bump.
I'm about to Olivia Pope this conversation. I think it goes back to what Kay said about your list. Is that, yeah, definitely making a list, but kind of prioritizing the qualities on that list as far as like, this is a deal breaker. This is, this is like one of my non-negotiables versus this is something that I can be flexible on. And maybe even being specific as far as like how flexible you are willing to be. Like, I'm flexible on this to like a 5 out of 10. I'm flexible to this and like a 2 out of 10. So that when you're going into a situation, it's kind of like vision boarding and manifesting for like a partner and knowing what you're trying to attract, and then also making sure that you have those same qualities, because you can't, if you're creating a list of certain qualities, you need to make sure that you're willing to do those same things for yourself before you ask somebody else to do them. Because I would say I'm guilty of that. I'll be like, you need to do all this for me, and then I want you to I just want to be cute and be loved. And that's not fair. That's not fair for a partner. So if you're asking something, you need to be already giving it to yourself and then being open to receiving it when it comes to you.
You know what this reminded me of? Did y'all remember that Chili show when she tried to find a relationship? Yeah, and she had all these lists of
and she was following Floyd Mayweather old non-reading
right. But she had all these things on her list that like it was pretty impossible to like. Don't do that, lady. Like. Right, like be realistic. Because I know when I was young, I was like, "Oh, you gotta have nice handwriting." Like it was stupid
handwriting.
Gotta write you a letter, right?
But no, but I think some women still have like this super duper unrealistic expectations. Like, girl, you ain't never gonna find a man. Okay,
but I will say this to women that are listening. I will say these things are harder done than said.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in the reality of things, when it goes back to lust and love, when you're in that lust phase, you're not thinking rationally. You're very irrational. You're doing things. You're flying off the hip. So what I will say to you all is that, when the
second date.
Yeah. But I had a Pinterest board on like my third day about our wedding. But at the end of the day, it is really one of those things where you have to, lust, the honeymoon is over. Now it's like, okay, how's this going to work? How's this going to play out? Does he have what I need? Lust is over. Am I willing to say, I want to end this, even though I've invested so much time? And I think that a lot of people have that unreasonable, irrational vibe at the beginning of the relationship where being critical and thinking realistically doesn't actually work. I don't even know what that is about lust. It's like a magic spell. But being able to kind of, even when it's over with and your honeymoon's over with, not literally, don't get married first, but like the honeymoon after lust is over with and you're like living with them or y'all are, exclusively dating or whatever it is, then you need to step back and say, okay, does he have this, this, and that? And you have to be willing to break it off and not just hope that it does come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I will say, I think for me, one of the reasons why in dating I have made the decision to take sex off of the table is because I don't want to allow sex to cloud my judgment. Like when I fall for you, I want to make sure that I fall for you based off of qualities that are actually there, the situation that we are actually in, and not falling for you based off of the fact that like you out here slanging and I can't even think straight. Like that's not, that's cute, but you can't build a life off of that. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I have made the decision to take that off of the table so that I'm not clouded by that, because I know me. I know that I am a person who is like super in love with love and all of that jazz, and I can get easily swept up in false promises and and I just don't want to have to question whether this relationship was based off of sex or based off of like a good foundation. That's not gonna work for everybody, but if you are having sex and with the person and you're falling, making sure that you have some systems in place to evaluate whether this person is like, maybe having a system where you're checking in with yourself on a week or bi-weekly basis in your journal or something where you're like, hey, is this person still meeting my expectations or not?
I mean, the only thing I would say to that is I'm the complete opposite because I got to test the waters. But at the end of the day, I do think that I'm the type of person where I'm able to separate. I can compartmentalize things because I can like you and do those things, and then I can not like you and do those things. So it's one of those things where it really is based off the person. I just think that, you know, if you are the type that knows that once you get some peen, you know, you're in love, then just avoid the peen. But if you can compartmentalize and, you know, it works for you, do what's best for you. Test the waters.
So with that being said, what are your deal breakers? Sorry, did you guys have any extra input on that?
No, I'm straight.
My deal breaker, other than not being a rapper and living with your mama, because those are really important. Trust me. Seriously. But no, some of my deal breakers specifically for males in general, even if we're friends, is that you have to be able to effectively communicate. If you can't communicate, I communicate for a living. Like, my whole job is to be able to effectively communicate with people. It is. And so in these situations, I don't work well with somebody who is not an effective communicator. Now, if you're willing to learn, that's something different. But then at the same time, if you're the type of person that when I'm like, is everything okay? You be like, I'm good. And I could tell off your body language that you're not. I'm not the type of person that can walk away from that. I have to kind of like know what's going on. And I will give you a space, and at the same time, when I give you a space and I come back, you need to be able to communicate. So I personally cannot be with someone who is not an effective communicator, or at least a good communicator. And deal breakers, you can't be broke. I know that's not the easiest thing for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, well, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to ride for you. We're going to make it together. I understand that. But where I am personally in my life right now, you can't be broke. I done dated broke guys before, and it just didn't mesh up. Now, I'm not saying broke as in, you know, you got a job, you're just not making the money that you want. I think we all there. I'm talking about broke as in, you just got fired last week and you in between jobs, and like, I don't want that.
Warning sign, in between jobs.
Just living at my mom's house so I get on my feet. But no, I'm gonna stop. But no, I feel like it has to match where I am.
All you fellas living at home with your mama, I apologize on behalf of the other 3 sisters.
You can, but see, here's the thing.
You could be living at home. We are apologizing for her.
Oh. No, you could be living at home with your mom creating. Y'all remember Insecure?
You could be living at home with your mama saving.
Yeah, or saving. But you remember on Insecure, like old dude was creating like a app. Mm-hmm. Like, if you living at home with your mama, you really out here like, I'm gonna just step back, get all the stuff together, and then I'm gonna step forward and be great. Cool. But if you just living at home with your mama,
in between jobs,
because McDonald's ain't called you back, like,
I cannot. So I would say
no drug dealers either. FYI.
That's
I'm not
too.
going to jail with you.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to jail for you, and I don't want to be in fear of my life every day.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that is a word.
And if the fans ask me where you at, I'm
like, going to tell them
on Millbrook, standing underneath the tree,
like that dude
on the corner.
And this is
verse 48. He had on an orange shirt. He was like a side shoe.
Right. Don't expect me to be a ride or die.
Yeah.
I might call and help set you up.
Okay.
If it's
reward
it's okay. In between my freedom and your freedom, it will always be me.
Okay.
And that's another deal breaker. Don't ever think that I value you more than I value myself. Please. Don't ever be like, well, you got it. No. I don't always got it. And if I do got it, I don't want to give it. So don't ever think that I value
you being petty, but that really is important.
No, it is
like
real.
You really do have to value yourself first in a relationship.
I'm giving my last dollar to a NIGGA, and they ain't give their last dollar back to me. So, girl, bad. You can't always put yourself behind somebody.
Right.
So
and
if
when you
expect
put
that,
yourself behind other people, then you are expecting other people to take better care of you than you are, and you can't live like that because people aren't always going to be able or willing to do that. So you've got to make sure your foundation is you and you taking care of yourself so that you can, one, approach people with appropriate expectations and maintain stuff. My other, I would say, deal breaker that I have, we already talked about the whole, you got to be willing to be in a committed relationship. If you're not, then we can't work out. And another deal breaker for me is if I feel anxious. Now, granted, some level of anxiety is going to be present in a situation with the person because, you know, we think we're women, we all in our heads. But, like, if I'm constantly, like, anxious and insecure when I'm dealing with you, that is a sign from somebody, the Lord, that something about you ain't right. Because I should feel some ease at some point when I'm with you. If I'm not feeling ease, this ain't a
That's
thing.
true.
Any deal breakers for y'all in previous relationships? Y'all was like, I gotta go because no.
Y'all hit them all. Y'all hit them all, and I broke the deal.
Deal or no deal.
Okay.
We've touched on this a little bit too, but women ignore warning signs. Why?
I mean, I do think in your situation when you made the comment about peeing, when women get good peeing, they do some foolish things.
Why would we call it peeing?
I know, right? Well, I want to clarify. I would like to clarify for the sake of me. Women do make a lot of decisions based off of penis. I think for me,
speak your truth.
I know, right?
I had to look her in the eyes to say that too.
I
Speak your
know.
truth.
I think that some people, granted, some people have casual sex, and that's fine. There's a time and a place for that. I'm not at that place in my life where I want to have casual sex. I'm at a place in my life where if I'm going to have sex, I want it to be meaningful. And so I'm not trying to have meaningful sex with someone who has no intentions on sticking around or having any real commitment to me or anything like that. But that's, again, where I'm at. Now, some people are out here, like, you want to have good sex, and if that's the case, do you. But don't get so caught up in sex that you, like, don't get so caught up in sex and think that good sex means a good relationship. Because a lot of times, there's a class of males who are good for penis. That's it. Penis is their lane. And so you got to know that if you in a lane for good penis, that you got to just keep him in that good penis while you search for the man that you really want to be in your life. And be willing to part with that penis once you find a man.
I think for me personally, and I think that even though I'm not the oldest, I am one of the oldest of us. I think my personal issue I think my personal issue is the over 30 vibe. So I am over 30 years old. I think I ignore warning signs because of what Kay said earlier in the episode. A lot of it comes from that society's norm of like where you're supposed to be at in life. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes you settle because you're scared to not be with somebody else and not meet society's norms and not, be in a relationship. You don't understand. Like, I was in a long-term relationship and I ended it based off of some of these things. And you don't understand how many times since that relationship ended that people were like, oh, well, you should be scared because you single now and you're like over 30 and do you want to have kids? And how you going to have kids and girl and da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, if I listened to everything that everybody said, I would still be in that relationship. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why a lot of women ignore the warning signs. I was in that relationship a little too long because I ignored a lot of warning signs because the clock, quote unquote, theoretical clock is ticking. Mm-hmm. And so because that clock is ticking, I'm thinking, oh, I got to, make this work, or I got to figure out how it's going to work. I got to settle down because I want to get married. I want to have kids. But then I stepped back and I thought to myself, like, is this relationship going to better you or is it going to harm you? In the end of the day, it's not harm because it wasn't any type of abuse. But at the end of the day, that is not the only way a relationship can harm you. Mm-hmm. And I think that, that was one of the reasons why I actively ignored those warning signs. because over 30, there's a different set of expectations that people see you in. So,
and I think people stay because they feel like I put so much time into this. I don't want to walk away from it knowing how much time that I put into it. Like, I'd rather continue to work on it with the hope that it's going to get better as opposed to lose all these years. And it's like, if you're viewing it from that lens, I get it. Like, you know, the amount of time you spend with somebody really does matter, especially whenever you've been with them for years and everything surrounds your family and all these people are all invested in this relationship. It gets very hard to walk away just from the fact of knowing that, like, this has been my life for a long time. But what you have to remember in those situations is that when you're looking at it as like a loss, it is going to be hard. But if you look at it like a game, like, yeah, I've spent all this time with this person and I've gained this and I've learned this and we benefited each other in this way and I'm grateful to them for this. And I like, if you look at it from a more strength-based way, then it makes it easier for you to walk out of the door because you didn't waste your time. You didn't lose time. You gained so many other things that you don't realize that you did. And so I'll have to say, for me, I stayed in a relationship for years and had to be honest with myself about the fact that, like, we knew that we were making something work based off of, like, a friendship. And so it's like, at the end of the day, friendship with a person, if you are with somebody and you put a lot of time in it, maybe it's possible that you can be friends with that person and that is a better fit, and being okay with knowing that, like, I've got a ride or die homie for the rest of my life. It doesn't have to be the person who I marry and have kids with, because there are some things about that relationship dynamic that should be kept in a friend zone.
And yeah,
I would say kids as well. I think there are a lot of women who have kids and they think they have to be in a relationship with their child's father. And I think that, you know, here's the thing, and this is me as a young woman, and I'm saying this to you all. Coming from a relationship where my parents were together, I would have rather them not been together. Because people stay because of the kids, but they don't realize how that is impacting the kids. Mm-hmm. The kids feel that. And I think it does not, you know, it does not help the child if you stay because you feel like it is beneficial for the child to have two parents, when in all actuality, I'd rather have two separate healthy parents than two unhealthy together parents. Mm-hmm. And I think that coming from the way that I grew up, seeing two parents that should not have been together, that stay together, quote unquote, for the kids, and I heard that in 1,000 arguments, it was something that was necessary for me to not be. Because I don't want to be in this relationship if I feel like it is because of the kids. Because at the end of the day, you're sacrificing the rest of your life for kids who are going to be gone when you turn 18. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, like, you know, my parents recently divorced. They were together for 30-some years. And it was like, you sacrificed all these years because you thought it would help me, but then you don't realize how it's messed me up because I grew up watching that. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think people see it from the kids' point of view. Right. And I don't think that side of things is ever discussed because we're like, well, you know, in the Black community, you know, when you do get married, it's almost like there's no way out. Mm-hmm. But there always is a way out if you feel like your own health and your own, you know, everything is being at risk.
Yeah, because, I mean, and for me, it always goes back to, I'm going to die someday. It sounds bad, but, like, one day I'm going to be at the end of my life and I'm going to die. And on my deathbed, I want to be able to look back at the life that I lived and say that I am proud of my contribution to this world. I'm happy about the things that I've been able to accomplish. I feel like I've checked everything that I needed to off my bucket list. I've done what I was here for. I want to die being ready to die. Being ready to die, like Tupac and Biggie. So, and I think a lot of people,
No, you weren't ready to die.
I mean, kind of.
They got shot.
I mean, I don't think they were like ready, like come kill me today. But it was like,
he
I have
was.
a sense
He kind of
of
sensed it. But.
I have a sense of peace and accomplishment. You know, like whenever I die, I want to have that sense of peace and accomplishment and know that I did all the things that I wanted to. I don't want to look back on the end and be like, damn, I'm still married to this nigga that I hate, and just because
that don't
it was
matter in the
convenient.
afterlife.
Or, you know, I don't want to be like, gosh, I could have done so stupid.
No afterlife.
I don't want to have to be popping in the afterlife. I want to be popping in this life.
Pearly gates.
So that's
Depart
what
from
it
me.
right. Is exactly what he's going to say. So I think that's kind of like
Inferno light. You're talking about death. It's uncomfortable, bro. Like,
it's
really
dark.
is.
It's dark and it's uncomfortable, but it's what happens. And so it's like if you're uncomfortable with death, ask yourself.
We're talking about relationships.
That's what I'm saying, though. If you're uncomfortable with having conversations about death, then make sure that you're living a life worth dying for.
I ain't there yet.
No, I ain't there.
So I'm not
working on it.
Exactly. I'm working on that. I'm working on making sure that I'm not uncomfortable talking about death because I'm living my life, and so I'm not going to tie myself in a relationship that feels like death.
Yeah.
If we don't want to talk about it, you definitely shouldn't be living in it.
It's true.
Well, I ain't, because I'm single. No, but seriously, I think that there's a level of ignoring it because it's like a healthy... It's fun to ignore it sometimes. Like, and I hate to say that, it is fun. You know, you live in this facade, you live in this magical life, and it's just fun. And so the sad part about it is you are forever losing something on the couch. But you have so many things that are helpful in so many ways of a relationship. Like, you're having fun, you're traveling, you're having sex, and meeting your family. It's fun to live in the fake sometimes. Yeah. And that's the reality. I just think that you just have to step back at some point. Because everybody got on me because I had a 3-year rule. Everybody's like, well, why do you got a 3-year rule? Because it's fun at first. And we can quickly get engaged. We can quickly get married. It's fun. But then at the same time, I want to go through some stuff. I want to see how you respond to crises. I want to see how you respond to hardships. I want to see how you respond when my bonnet slide off. Like, I just want to see how these things happen. And I want to know that you're in it for the long haul and not when things get hard, you run, or when things get hard, you know, you call up an ex or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So, like, I feel like, you know, warning signs sometimes are fun to ignore. I hate to say it.
Yeah, they are. Do you think guys can change?
Let me tell you something.
I feel a word coming. Go.
You know what? The one thing that Steve Harvey that I've ever listened to and actually believed was true was that a man, you're never going to make somebody change. Mm-hmm. But a man will change when he feels that he's with the person.
Yeah. Right, that's worth changing for.
Mm-hmm. Now, he said a word, and I believe that till the day. I don't know about none of the other stuff he got, but that's something that I have listened to and I've seen. But yeah, you're not gonna, if you're living in a premise that you think that you're gonna change N-I-G-G-A.
Yeah, hello.
Hunty, let me tell you something. It's not gonna happen because you might not be the one.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't the one to bring about that change.
Right. There are plenty of guys, it was another quote, but it was plenty of guys, I'll be out here on the quote, but who will, you dating them and they in this way, and then next thing you know, they on to the next relationship, and then they got married and all this stuff, and you're like, well, why was it? Because it wasn't for you. It wasn't the relationship.
And don't be hurt by it.
Don't be hurt. Say, yeah, and that's not my issue, because I'm definitely not bitter. But I've seen it. Like, I really lived one of my exes to get married, and I'm genuinely happy for that person because I've seen the growth. Like, I can send him a long page letter of like how proud I am of him, of how he grew. Like, hurt me? No, the marriage didn't hurt me, but in our relationship there was a lot of hardships, there was a lot of hurt going on around, but you've changed and you found somebody that you genuinely love, and you actually changed for that person, because I was steady trying to change him. And he wasn't ready. He wasn't at that spot where he was ready to grow.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say the same thing. Both of my, 2 of my exes, I've had short-term relationships and I've had 3 long-term relationships. And 2 of my long-term relationships, they're both married. And to be honest with you, The first one that got married, I'm actually very proud that he's married because he came from a very difficult situation, and I think that I'm just glad he's happy. The other NIGGA, sorry, I'm trying not to refrain from the word, but the other NIGGA, I feel sorry for it, but at the end of the day, that is not my issue.
Right.
But I'm glad that they have moved on, and I also feel like I'm glad they moved on because I've moved on.
Right.
Now, if I was still in my feelings, I'd be pissed. But I was like, yo, thank God y'all gone, and y'all got to come back around for me.
Right.
Right. And you know what? Like, I do, like CiCi said, or I do think that guys can change when they are at the position where they want to change. Just like women, we change whenever we want to. People in general change whenever they feel like it. And so whenever you are the person who is on the other end, seeing the person who you put all this time and effort into changing is now changed, just understand there was nothing wrong with you. If a relationship isn't working out, it probably has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with either where that other person is in life or just the fact that y'all aren't meant to for each other. And so one thing, I'm single as hell, but one thing that I have to like remind myself and reframe my thinking whenever I get my feelings is that I have not met the person who I am meant to be with yet. And I'm so thankful and appreciative to all the people that I've been able to learn from, because if I wasn't in those situations, I never would have done the work that I needed to do on myself to be ready for the person that is for me.
Okay.
So don't be like beating yourself up. He's coming. You just need to work to get to the person who's willing to be that person for you. Now, how do you hold yourself accountable? Knowing these things, that there are deal breakers and there are people who you need to let go. How do you hold yourself accountable and say, I'm going to make the step of letting go of this person who I may really care about but is not that person?
I will say that question alone has helped me get over my past relationships, because holding myself accountable and knowing that I put up with this for too long and like holding that over my head helped me grow beyond that spot and help me take the lessons and move on. And so I'm not stuck in that place in life. So that alone is what helped me keep the standard, because I know I broke boundaries. I know I saw the warning signs and I continue to overlook them. The eye is there. Like, they were showing me who they were. They were not changing for nothing, and I was forcing a change that wasn't non-negotiable at that point. It's where they were at. So I've accepted that I'm the one who probably pressed too long on the journey, and for a long time they've already dropped their bags off, unpacked, and they're over there doing what they're doing.
Right.
I hold myself accountable now by just being able to say, like, I am tired, and being okay with that, like sitting in that feeling and just saying, like, I can't do this anymore. And really feeling that. I think a lot of the times we say it and we move past it. We think it, we move past it. But like actually sitting in that and saying, like, I can't be everything to someone who what am I trying to say? I can't be everything to someone who isn't everything to me. Or something like that.
It's still a word.
Yeah, I mean, it is. But like so many of the relationships, and I bring this back to African American women more than anybody. Like I said, we are helping people. We are the backbones of all of our culture, and what we do is we try to help. But you can't be everything to somebody else. And once you realize that you can't, you have to step back and figure out, if you're not everything to them, what does this relationship look like? And so, being tired and just being unhappy is how I hold myself accountable. And I have to sit in those feelings and identify, is this where I want to be 10, 20, 30 years from now? Do I want to be tired? Do I want to be unhappy? Do I want to be in an unhealthy relationship? So reflection, I would say, is my way of holding myself accountable.
Mine too. Reflection and blocking niggas. Because, and not from a petty place. Not from a petty place. It comes from a place of knowing what I can handle. Because, so often you will stop talking to somebody, or you'll cut somebody off, but not really cut them off, because you can still see everything they do on social media. You're still going to their profile and seeing what's going on, all that kind of stuff. And for me, I know now that if I'm trying to get over you, then I need to do that in a healthy way. I can't look at the stuff that you're doing, because that's constantly putting myself in a situation where I'm going to be triggered. So I may have to block you either until I can get myself to a point where I can handle those things, or just block you completely and just wish you well. There are people who I don't talk to at all, but I pray for them and I ask God to do things for them, but I cannot handle the interaction. And so, knowing for myself that I'm not being petty or I'm not being mean, but setting limits for myself for what I can handle. If you breaking up with somebody and you know they go certain places, don't go there.
Don't be Zoe on Blackish.
Yeah.
She was just always there when he was there.
Right. Don't go there, because you cannot handle. What if you get what you want? What if they come back and they're like, hey, I was thinking about you. What you gonna do?
Because they're the same person.
They're the same person. Thinking about you don't mean nothing. It means that you are a thought that crossed through their mind, just like they are a thought that crosses through your mind, but the situation isn't different. So being able to remind myself of reflecting on what I want and making sure that my actions are lining up with that. Any advice to our counterparts who are trying to, they've decided, they listened to this episode and they've been like, all right, there's some deal breakers in my relationships. I need to go about separating from this person. What do you do? How do you do that?
I think part of that is also being able to have a good support system. I think a lot of times we as women just sort of try to go at it alone in some of these situations when we need somebody to have our back. We need somebody to root for us and support for us. Hey, you don't need to be in this relationship if it's making you feel this way. And there you can, it's okay to leave. It's okay to do whatever. So I think also just having like-minded people in your life, having the support system, finding other things, other options that you can do or whatever, so that it's easier to pull away. Sometimes you have to have a replacement, and not a replacement person, but sometimes you have to figure out what you need for yourself and do those things for yourself. And I think a lot of times that can bring clarity into what you need to do.
I read this earlier this week, and I sent this out to you all, and I think it's appropriate to add in. I follow a young lady, her name is Lakevia Underwood, on Facebook, and she says, if we could only pay attention to warning signs God sends, it would prevent us from toxic relationships and connections. Every good relationship is not a God relationship. Most of the time it was birthed out of convenience. Godly connections will always lead to elevation, restoration, and challenge you from the jump start. Everything that you were challenge you from the jump. They are set to, relationships are set to conquer. So to me, the power in saying every good relationship is not a God relationship, and being able to say, is this a God relationship? And if it's not, am I willing to jump out? And with the support and with the help, but just starting there, awareness. Are you willing to jump out?
And it's scary. Don't get me wrong. Both of us have jumped out of long relationships, and it was scary, and it was hard, and it's embarrassing, and there's all kinds of other feelings and emotions that go along with the breakup. But,
I'm happy.
Right. I will say that I probably am happier than I've ever been in any other point in time in my life, and it has no shade to that person at all. It just has everything to do. It has everything to do with me and who I decided to be once I stepped out of that situation. So my advice would be if you're saying that I have these deal breakers, think about, if you're going to step out of this, what is going to be your new thing that you're focused on? Is that new thing going to be yourself? Is that new thing going to be your career? But finding something else that you're focusing the amount of energy that you put into this relationship into.
I don't think people realize how good peace is. Once you get peace, it is just you wouldn't trade it in for the world.
Nothing.
Being in a situation where it's not healthy and truly getting peace. And I ain't talking about that fake peace. I'm talking about peace, quiet, peace and knowledge of knowing that you are content. That is a peace that I don't know if I even want to trade it for a good man at this point.
And it's scary though. Peace is scary.
Yeah, it's definitely
It's very uncomfortable because you probably have never been there before.
Right.
And you're scared it's gonna go away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just to flip that, just because like I'm at peace in my marriage,
Right.
but for a long time I wasn't at peace in my work life. And now that I am at peace, like for a long time I was like, when is this gonna end? When is the honeymoon stage over? Is this what this job is about? And I was waiting for something to go wrong. Because I was so unhappy for so long.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting to the stage where I'm okay. I'm getting better day by day.
And peace can cause you to be self-destructive sometimes because you've been in that chaos and that turmoil for so long that you're like, this is going too good. I've got to do something that's more familiar for me. But I would challenge anybody to just not, to do the really hard thing in the short term of being uncomfortable, but know that like in the long term, it's going to be way better for you.
Woo!
All right, this was like a mad deep sister circle. I feel like I'm probably gonna like go and cry after this or something.
No, I already got my cry for this year.
CiCi,
Always
give us a
count on
sprinkle.
Dani to bring it back.
It's because she cannot handle her feelings.
I can handle them.
Because I didn't want to be in mine today either.
Well, I had mine before we started.
There you go. Sister she did it for both of us. There
I'm
you
just
go.
gonna appropriately.
I'm gonna start
deal
counting
with my
CiCi's
feelings
cries
after
as
this.
mine. You cried this week, girl. So did I. We both cried.
That's why me and CiCi be here lately because I be stepping over into my CiCi corner of life and being like, okay, I want to deal with these feelings.
All right. Well, listen. I think this was a wonderful episode of talking about women in relationships and healthy relationships. And for the women who are out here who hold their godliness in a high standard, and you feel like, honey, I'm single and the only man I got is Jesus.
Amen.
You can date too. Let me tell you how.
You sound like an advertisement.
Right.
I got your back.
I got you. You can date too. So here's some little helpful tips about dating as a Christian woman. So oftentimes, the first thing is, instead of godliness, look for growth in your partner's faith. So oftentimes, we as Christian women, the things we do, we check on a box. Do he go to church? Or do he read the Bible? And that's not enough. Because people who are often talking about they are so-called Christians, it ain't it. So the Bible does say this: do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, for what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? That comes from 2 Corinthians, not 2 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 6 and 14. So it's impossible to really determine a person's level of where they are with their faith and their love for Christ just by saying that they go to church. So it's important that if that's something important for you, then you need to be able to see over time their character and how they interact. If, it's not just about going to church, but if they're wanting to deepen their relationship with Christ. So make sure you do that. The second thing is, maybe there's no such thing as too fast. I think when you say too fast for things, it's really only what you make it. Sometimes if you're goal oriented and you know exactly what you need in a relationship, in a Christ-like relationship, you may find that person and he has it too. So in that regard, it's like maybe it's not moving too fast. But if you get a sense that your actions and what you're driving for in a relationship is changing the character of what you want to be in a godly relationship, then maybe you want to step back and take some time to look. Is it lust or is it a real true connection? The next thing is, use social media wisely. Beware of the people who out here lurking. There are always some wolves in the den who trying to get a good Christian woman out their drawers. I'm just being honest. And because they be like, ooh, listen, it happens all the time. So just be mindful. Like, don't only use that platform for your dating. Like, don't let that be the only thing that you're doing to communicate with somebody. You need to go out. Really get to know this person, because you just never know. You have to be really careful, and that's for anybody, but you really have to be careful about what you're doing on social media, because people
thought bopping. I call it thought bopping on Facebook.
Boop, boop. So you have to be real careful, because you can write a whole scenario and make yourself look wonderful, and then you ain't, you're not doing that. So be careful, women. Okay.
BlackTickleMeat.com.
Hello, like, they got Christian Mingle, honey, but
That's where the lurkers at.
Okay.
I already know you're a Christian looking for another Christian.
Right. And you done been through some things. That's why you saved. All right. So stay open to a friendship blossoming into something more. Sometimes friendships can be where you're looking for a relationship and you don't even know it. So don't just always put somebody in the friend zone. Clearly, if that there's just no chance, but be open to different things. And sometimes friendship could be it. Sometimes it's not.
But do a friend zone episode.
We should. All right, ladies. To the women who are really holding themselves on high standard of godliness, which we should be, remain in a position of purity. So,
who's purity?
Remain in a position of purity. So if you have decided that you're going to be celibate again, or if you have decided that you are a virgin and you want to wait, do those things. Right. Listen,
amen.
The desire to be physically close and intimate with someone is inevitable and it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. When you get a chance, read Song of Solomon. It's all a beautiful love story of two people who got together, and they, it's really beautiful. But if you're tempted, try spending your time doing other things other than Netflix and chill. So if you're trying to avoid getting into a sexual relationship, you don't want to always be going out or doing things at 9:00 at night. Okay. So date in groups in public and mindful hours that so you can avoid some of that temptation that you're trying to not do. Mm-hmm. The last thing is cultivate the right desires. So date for a purpose that you intend. So don't compromise on your own beliefs simply to find someone that might match who you think you should be with, but you need to hold your values and your standards, and just remain in those. So ladies, go on out and get you a date, honey. It's okay. Just remember those things, and you should be okay.
I'm cool with dating Jesus.
Okay. I mean, that's
I need real dates.
Listen, my mama said my husband is Jesus, and that's where she been since she been divorced. So listen.
Now let me quit. You heard my qualifications, so if you listen to this and you got a homeboy, don't know.
You just disrupt.
Y'all always do my sprinkle. Y'all do my sprinkle dirty.
It was a great sprinkle. It was a great
sprinkle. She was getting there like, we'll tell your homeboy to holler. No, you ain't hear nothing in that sprinkle.
Yes, I did. I'm doing a lot of these things already.
Man, purity.
Exactly.
Oh, I know.
But you know what, CiCi? I really appreciate you for coming through with those godly dating tips, because I feel like it is important for you to know and understand and have like I said, some connection with somebody, if you really are trying to make it out here in this life.
Connect with yourself out here.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to be alone. Yeah.
Use it.
All right.
Well, it sounds like we are done for this week, ladies. I think that I might go cry in the car, but no, I'm saying. But
she won't cry in the car, y'all.
Girl, that'll be my cry for next year. She won't.
I mean, knocking on the window like, need a tissue.
But I think that was something that we all needed, and even if if you know a woman who needs to hear these words, just pass it along, honey.
Hey, girl, share it. Like, comment, subscribe, show us some love.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, this is our opinion or how we do things, but it's everything that we say is not one size fits all. Something take what you need and leave what you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because condoms don't fit size. No, I'm not gonna go there.
Nope.
So, but like, share. We are now on Instagram under Four Sisters Podcast. We are always going to be on Facebook, Four Sisters Podcast. The podcast is available through Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud under Four Sisters Podcast.
And coming soon to Spotify.
Yes. So, and now coming soon to Spotify. So you have no reason not to listen, to share, and hopefully, give us some feedback. Let us know how you feel. And if there's a topic that you feel we should discuss, send us a message. You got a couple different platforms to do so.
And we are really eager to interact with you guys more. So, whenever we're posting stuff, definitely feel free to reach out, in the comment section, or send us a message, because we want to know what you guys want to hear, and we want to hear from you.
Yes, this is for
the
you.
people, by the people.
Something for the people. I think I made that up, but okay.
Thank you. Because I keep thinking that reggae song.
I can't.
For
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.